This is Hawkissimo, and in this video I am going to cover a topic that I strongly debated not covering, the selfish guardian build. So before I proceed, I want to make it clear that I truly believe in playing the role and responsibility. Every time you pick a god and the rest of the team is making decisions about who they're picking to have a balanced team or not if they're dummies, but so who you highlight and who you lock has an impact on the decisions that other people are making. I would not build a selfish guardian build if I didn't have a way to communicate that on headset. Otherwise, I'm a jerk. But that said, I do want to provide you an understanding of how you can go about playing the Guardian in a little bit less of a support role in the classic way and still be effective. So with that said, this is not specific to Athena. This is a sort of low-level catch-all. Obviously, there are differences between individual Guardians, but this will cover the basics of selfish Guardian builds. So we're going to go right into the item builder, and we're going to build from scratch so it's easier to follow along. So for a starter item, I would go into, again, for selfish, I would go into Sands of Time. And the reason I'm going to go Sands of Time over other things is I'm going to want cooldown, and I'm going to want it as fast as possible. I think Mark of Vanguard is okay if the enemy team has a heavy physical comp. So 4, 5 physical, definitely take Mark of the Vanguard. Punish them. Punish those stupid teams. Or if you're still struggling with keeping up in level, but you still like the classes and you're trying to persevere, Watcher's Gift will help get through that. Really, Watcher's Gift is underappreciated. It's health, it's protection, it's MP5, it's money. Thanks, Cap. So let's, again, proceed. One of my clanmates probably wants to play. And continue on. So then we're going to start boots just like always. You have two choices in the selfish iteration, right? If you're trying to do some damage, go into Shoes of Magi. Probably not the best. I think the selfish Guardian is still trying to be a Guardian. They're simply trying to ensure that more of their kit is directed towards them and a little less in the way of auras. So I think still Shoes of Focus lets them get things done because it increases your starting mana pool and it gives you that increased cooldown. So right away, we're going to get up to 20% cooldown, and that's very nice. We're going to continue on with the Chalice. You back much more in the casual modes, as I've discussed many times, that being Clash, Arena, Joust, and Siege. And even though I said we're selfish, we don't want to get ganked, and we don't want our teammates to get ganked. Ward. I know that you won't see many wards in casuals, but that is a mistake that you don't want to be a part of. Ward, ward, ward. So, on to the core. Well, just as always, physical protection is more important than magical because of the number of things that do physical. 3 of the 5 enemy classes are physical, that being assassins, hunters, and warriors. And only 2 are magical, that being guardians and mages, and for that reason you tend to favor physical. But not just that, the minion waves are physical, most of the jungle camps are physical, the monsters, the towers, the phoenixes, and the titan. So we're going to start here, and again, you see a theme. we are working our way hard into cooldown. At this point you have max cooldown. 40 is the hard cap. So continue along. This is where I'm going to break convention a little bit. You have a couple decision trees. You might want to come into magical and build Shogun's Kusari because of the 50 protection for yourself and the MP5 and the cooldown and the crowd control reduction. The fact that you and your allies are also going to get attack speed is one way to go, and I think that's a fine way to go. Perhaps you want to have built up your tankiness, and you can do that by getting health at the same time that you're building protection. Pestilence is flat out the best magical protection item in the game. It has the highest amount of magical protection and gives you that 200 health. Plus, it has a very useful aura because it not only hinders what you'd commonly think of a healing out of like a Chanje or an Afro, but it also deals with all abilities, consumables, relics, and lifesteal. So this certainly makes you a tanky beast. So nothing wrong with that choice. And again, the fact that it happens to help your friends is incidental. It is just flat out solid for you. Finally, maybe you have a bad habit of not managing your health well. Stone of Gaia. Whatever we build, we are going to supplement in the next slot. So let's just say that you wanted the health. At this point, we're going to come back to magic. And I'm going to pretend that you just want to go tank. That would be fine. I'll come up with an alternative. Let's go into defense magical and mention one other variant. If you're looking to do damage, Voidstone is great, right? You get power, you get protection, and you're helping yourself and your other magic using allies, mages, and if there happens to be another guardian, unusual comp, but happens, you're reducing the magical protections of your enemies. So your mages will love being around you in this instance, and as a guardian you should be around them. So that's also a very strong choice and on the aggressive side, so nothing wrong with that. You would simply be looking at something like this, very strong. I would then really start to look, once you have physical and magical, you want health. There's no way around that. There are a couple different choices for that. We've talked about having Stone of Gaia is one. You could run Hide of the Urchin. If you and your team, though, aren't getting your kills and assists, this is not as efficient as it sounds. It's only 250 health, and there are lots of items that will give you that and more. For instance, this is very reliable. It's less protection, but it has a very nifty passive, so don't sleep on this. This is a great item. I like having the tankiness. I really do. So coming into Gauntlet of Thebes, great aura item, but the fact that it has 350 health is very nice. Again, Stone of Gaia, very solid choice. I'm at max cooldown. I have physical protection, I have magical protection, and I have regen on my health. I'm a tank. At this point, you can easily then go into picking up a cloak. The damage mitigation alone on my favorite item, Spirit Robe, makes this worth it. If you're doing this, keep in mind that at around 2,000 gold, you're going to sell your starter item to get back 533 of the 800 that you had originally spent to then buy this. And the reason is, again, we were at 40%. This would put us at 50. 50 exceeds the hard cap, so at that point you would sell this, giving you the extra money to buy that. Perfectly good. If you're looking to hit with final power at the end and you want a single choice of power, three different ways to go with that. So let's look at the power options. One would be going into Rod of Tahuti for the actual magic power spike. Perfectly legit. The other is going to be coming into Soul Reaver. Again, 100 power, 300 mana, but it's the passive that's doing some dirty work, right? You're going to do 10% of the enemy's maximum health as true damage. I don't care what stupid abilities and protections you have, eat that damage. And it has a fairly reasonable cooldown once every 40 seconds. So that's a perfectly fine choice. And the other choice, even though it's under defense health, Ethereal Staff. Ethereal Staff, power, health, crowd control reduction, works great with Spirit Robe, and then has that passive that says, hey, your abilities deal bonus magical damage to enemy gods equal to 5% of their max health. It's not true damage like the other one, so it can be mitigated, etc. but it refreshes every 10 seconds. So since you're already on fast cooldown, this is good, and it plays well into the tanky aspect, right? So now we're at 30% crowd control reduction, 10 off the Spirit Robe, 20 off Ethereal Staff. We have 65 magical protection, 65 physical protection off Breastplate of Valor. We have 70 off the whatever this thing is called. We have another 40 off Spirit Robe plus this. I think that those are all fine choices. Even in this selfish role, your relic choices remain much the same. So sticking with the selfish theme, you worry about numero uno. You could go Purification Beads into Aegeus, or Bracer of Undoing into either of those, or Bracer of Undoing into Heavenly Wings. You know, there are going to be times where you or your allies are caught out of position, so that would be viable. Or I'll mention one more, and that would be, where are you hiding? What was I thinking? Oh, meditation. Good old med. So yeah, med's been nerfed, and if you have a big health pool, it heals nothing close to what it used to. But if you're squishy, you need all the help you can get, and you know you're still a guardian. And keep in mind that if you're either on your back heels defending your Tower Phoenix or Titan, and the enemy is pushing hard, sometimes that med can keep you there long enough to push them back. Same in reverse, right? How many times have you been pushing against an enemy, but you have to backpedal because the Phoenix has just come back to life and is pounding you, and the squishies are dying? Well, had you been able to pop this off, they could have stayed for another 2-3 hits, and that would have made the difference between destroying it or not. So I think that that's a solid option as well. So in conclusion, another way to play, another way to go. Not my preferred style, but certainly in the land of rando, you have lots of choices. We've talked about them. I didn't even highlight all the options that are out there. Like, I don't want to forget that Shogun's Kusari is plenty fine as well. So lots of different choices there. With that, I'm going to once again say, if you like this video, please click the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love it. Clicking the bell notifies you whenever I post new content, and I am trying to post more content more frequently. If you have any comments, questions, please, by all means, click the section below and go ahead and type your little words of wisdom to me. I am also taking requests. I have a section where I have the customer request videos, so go ahead and say, hey Hawk, can you give me some more details around whatever? I don't care whether it's God, you know, where to ward on this map, whatever. With that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. This is Hawkissimo signing out.